Hey folks, wanted to give you a little update to try to explain one of the many reasons that we seem to be getting contradictory information from different expert sources about keto diet and almost anything else having to do with medicine or health. So the best way to look at it is that two different experts, for instance a vegan or a carnivore, who are two kind of opposite extremes in the dietary nutritional world. They're very tribal and very defensive of their positions often. Both could be in ketosis or keto, but they're just two splinter group extremes. I don't adhere to either one, but I'm still learning. But for instance, one of them can say from one camp that eating animal-based protein is bad and will kill you and cause aging. Another person from the carnivore group, who is also a medical doctor and experienced and has treated thousands of patients, blah, 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 for 15, 20, 30 years, will tell you that eating meat is, in fact, the natural heritage of our ancestors and the way we ate for, hundreds of thousands of years or whatever. And that meat is good for you and that vegetables are actually poison for you. Well, it sounds like they're 180 degrees out. How could they possibly both be right? Well, aside from the usual variances and variety among human people, individuals, that we're all different, and foods and all kinds of other things affect each of us differently than it would necessarily with another person. So one size doesn't necessarily fit all. But ignoring that for the moment, is basically a situation of people talking past each other more than arguing or actually refuting each other. And let me explain that. They could be, it depends on the context at the time of any given statement like that. The vegan may be saying that it's proven that there's an association or even a causation between eating a lot of animal-based protein, including and especially red meat is always singled out, has, been linked to causally or at least associated with much higher risks of early morbidity, death, or colon cancer, stomach cancer, blah, blah, blah. Okay? And within that construct of what he said, or she said, it could be absolutely true. We don't know that because causation and association can mean nothing. For instance, you could say that, there's an association between the increased consumption of ice cream and shark attacks on humans. Well, there's no link whatsoever. Eating more ice cream isn't going to cause you to get attacked by a shark. But there's an association because, yes, at the same time that summertime, when people eat a lot of ice cream, especially at beaches or whatever, it goes up, well, that's when they go in the water, which is where sharks live, and that's when incidents of human-shark interaction would be most likely to occur. So it can be nonsense. So beware of that. But the carnivore, on the other hand, might be saying that red meat is great for you and it's what your body wants and blah blah blah. Well, they could be true. They could be right as well. But they may be speaking about a very particular thing, such as the fact that animal-based protein is not nearly as high quality or absorbable or usable or available, or takes a lot more energy for your body to create usable amino acids broke down and blah 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 from vegetables than it does from meat. And that's probably true too. So both of them are right, even though they're saying something that on the surface, intentionally or otherwise, seems 180 degrees opposite. So there's many examples like that, and you just have to sort through it, and that's a hard thing because even if these factions and these experts and these people that are authorities, where they're self made or self-acclaimed as experts, or whether they actually are leading experts because of their history, background, education, and research, and productivity. We don't know. We can find out, but it's hard. And so digging through all this and trying to sort it out for the average person is nearly impossible. Even our doctors are basically 95% outdated and don't know what the hell they're talking about, to be honest with you. Medical doctors that we go to, they stopped learning for the most part once they graduated from medical school, and assuming that was 5, 10, 15 years ago, I mean, how can they possibly be up to date? They can be telling you something that's completely wrong and causing you to stay sick. And I happen to believe that that's the case. And it's not because they're evil people, or not even because they're lazy. It's just that they're busy and they don't have time to go to medical school continuously forever. So the real problem occurs when you realize the fact that apparently in 1950, all medical knowledge and information doubled in a 50-year period. Well, next year in 2020, medical information will double every 73 days. So how is it even conceivably possible that doctors can keep up? Add to that the fact that doctors have their hands tied. They're in a position where they cannot prescribe things that aren't in the accepted medical practices, or they will be subject to liability lawsuits, being fired, losing their license, or anything else, because it takes 5 to 15 years and $100 million to create one study that they can then rely on and cite and be able to not get in trouble by doing so and practicing based on that. So 5 to 15 years, and there's no money in it unless it's a drug that drug companies can make money in recouping the cost of that research and that study. So who pays for all these studies? Well, with a rare exception, it's pharmaceutical companies that pay for all of it, because they have the ability to recoup that money if and when the study supports the sales of their drugs, which if they get FDA approval, et cetera, and can make a lot of money. But we can't do that. There's no money in eating healthy, natural, whole food. There's no money in it compared to the money in selling and creating junk food and foods that have 6-month shelf lives, like pasteurized milk. You can have pasteurized milk in a refrigerator to last for 5 or 6 months and not go sour. How could that be possible if it's a live, viable food? It's just a bad situation. So we're all screwed because we are not doctors, we're not scientists, we don't have hundreds of millions of dollars, we don't have 20 years to figure this out for ourselves, because we're dying every day as a result of our misinformation and our bad habits and practices. So it's frustrating. So just realize that when you see things that seem to be apparent controversies or apparent contradictions among people that appear to be equally credible, well, that's possible. And in fact, it seems to be the lay of the land, because this is a frontier that's only now being explored. And we know almost, probably of what we're going to know in 2 years about nutrition and effects on body, we probably know 1% of that right now. And in 2 years, we'll know 100 times that. So it's a burgeoning, developing, blossoming thing, and we have to be on guard and take care of our own health. So just be aware of that, and don't get cynical or give up. Look at your own body and whatever you're doing or reading or trying on yourself as an experiment with your diet, whether it's keto or anything else. How's it working for you? How do you feel? That should be the number one parameter. Okay, later.